Jim,
Yes.
I believe you have an email that contains FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling talent reports. These hit the internet the other day. Profiles of several wrestlers that were in developmental at that time, with comments from the trainers.
Yes. And boy, they got fancy. Because I was used to the ones that they just send down, typed out, whatever. But this has pictures and graphics, and apparently the times that they've been in the ring and the times they've done promos or whatever, and their stats, birthday, day they turned pro, whatever the case. This is quite fancy.
Indeed,
yes, it is.
Indeed, I assume it is. I don't have the previous version here, but what do you think of some of these? Because you know these trainers, obviously. Steve Kern, Gerald Briscoe, Tom Pritchard, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting anyone? Norman
Smiley is on here. I don't know him, but I know everybody else. I got a kick out of a few of these. There's Evan Bourne, who is Matt Sydal, right?
That is correct.
In his younger days. What year would this be from? This has to be, at least 15 years old.
Well, Nemeth is there. When did you have Nemeth in OVW?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just about Matt Sydal, there's nothing really, no comments from Tom. Dusty says, ECW, good for him. Apparently he went to work for ECW. I don't know. But Nick Nemeth was here in OVW in 2004 and 2005, as I recall. And he, maybe even just part of 2005. But it has in his injury history, April 8th, he had his April of 08, rather, 2008, he had his right elbow drained. So this is probably 2009-ish, 10-ish, something like that. But nevertheless, Gerald Briscoe comments about Nick Nemeth. This guy's ready. We're wasting time with Nick at FCW. Great bumps, look, work, great moves, sell, and can wrestle. Move up. Tom Pritchard, after being in the system 34 months. So if he started in OVW late 2004, this is somewhere around, he was in the system longer. Did we get him before they signed him, though? Did he come from one of our tryout camps? We may have had him before they signed him. I don't know. Anyway, Tom Pritchard feels we have to feel it's time to find a place for Nick somewhere on the roster. He can be an asset to any brand. He's ready as he's going to be. Steamboat said he's ready. Could tell right away he was the captain in the ring. Does everything well. Dusty's comments, ready.
That must be frustrating, though, when and this isn't exclusive to Nick Nemeth here in this one situation. It's other talent all throughout the years. Everyone's saying this guy's ready, this guy's ready. They don't see it the same way. It's frustrating.
That's what we used to say. He's ready. Go. Well, the creative doesn't have anything for him. Fire the fucking writers. What the fuck? That was constant. And I've made the joke, but it was true. It was just funny that JR one time said, rank the guys from number 1 through number 21, because we had 21 of them. And in what terms of what order they're ready to come up. And they brought up 18, 19, and 21. They skipped over 20 because he was fucking hurt. And it was, Bruce Pritchard would normally, he knew all the guys that Laurinaitis and those yahoos really wanted to succeed, the Sean O'Hares and the Jendrax and the guys that we didn't think were any good. So he'd find ways to compliment them and find something else to pick at about the guys that we said were ready and were model employees and ready to go. Sheamus is on here. And again, his injury history, March of 2008, strained right something and twisted left ankle. Gerald Briscoe, like look and good promo, white skin. Steve Kern comments, Sheamus is really trying hard to understand storytelling in matches, but he still needs experience to become more seasoned. Tom Pritchard, progressing well, has the passion and dedication, needs more ring work. Dusty was high on him. I'm not understanding what the graphics are at the top when it says ring April 7, May 7, June 7, promo April 7. Is that a numerical ranking?
Is it a grade?
I guess it is.
Yeah, I guess it's a grade. TJ Wilson got a 10 in attitude. Well, so did Sheamus, actually.
So did Sheamus.
So did Nick Nemeth. Everyone just has a good attitude.
Well, Evan Bourne only got an 8 in June. He was getting a bad attitude.
Yeah, maybe that explains Dr. Tom Pritchard's comment. None.
Yeah.
Dusty's comment. Good for him.
Yeah, well, because he went to work for ECW. Yeah. Steve Kern comments, Matt has already appeared for ECW. Yeah, good for him. TJ Wilson, everybody was kind of high on him.
He must have been high to get that haircut. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's not real attractive. The Bella twins, Nicole and Brianna Garcia Calachi. I feel like people should goddamn stick to a fucking name. What is it with the hyphenated? Pick a name. No hyphens. Especially when your first names are already multisyllabic.
I like the injury history. Nicole, February 8th, strep throat.
Strep throat. Brianna, sinus infection.
From India.
Good God, wasn't that when Steve Regal, or William Regal, they sent him to India and it almost killed him, didn't it? Wasn't that where he got that horrible disease?
I think
so. Gerald Briscoe comments, twins work well in ring as partners, have moves that work as a team, can move up, seem to have a heel attitude. Steve Kern comments, we feel they are both ready. Tom Pritchard, they're getting better each outing and would do well in any situation on the card or any brand. Dusty, their improvements have been very evident. So they must have known that somebody in the office wanted these fucking girls to go up. Because how could they all get this many raves and then turn out to do what they did?
Well, the other thing is you have to remember where we are now versus where we were then. How many other women were there? How many women were on the main roster who couldn't work? It was still the Divas era. And they were part of that, but they actually went through developmental as opposed to, you win the Diva contest. Now here's Walk Out to Walk Idiot Walk by the Hives. That was the theme song for one of the Diva winners. Walk Idiot Walk. But anyway, that's the Bellas. What'd you think of Colt Cabana?
Well, hold on, Drew McIntyre. He got 8s in the ring, 8s and a 9 on promo, 10s on attitude, had no injury history. And Kern commented, doing a tremendous job as half the tag team champions. We've tried Drew in singles. He seems to have more of a problem telling a story by himself. But we feel strong that Drew will be an asset. Look forward to educating him. Tom Pritchard said, Drew is progressing fine, has good size, finding his confidence, has become a good worker, has a lot of promise. Dusty, Drew continues to impress, but in my opinion is not ready at this point in time. Steamboat, you could tell that his attitude in the ring has completely changed from when he was sent up a while back. So areas for improvement. Experience and continue with in-ring confidence and relax. But boy, he looks different back then. He doesn't look good as a young guy. He looks better as a grizzled veteran.
The facial hair adds so much.
But anyway, let's get to Colt Cabana because yes, this fucking clown was actually in developmental at this point in time. And how long had he been in the business at this? We don't know what year this, somewhere around 2008, 2009. He'd been in the business 10 years at this point. And Let's see. Steve Kern. Colt is pretty settled in his ways. I don't foresee him making any changes in his work or body. It is what it is. And if there's a place for him with this character, he's ready.
That's the best honest review there is.
Well, Tom Pritchard comments, Colt has a combination of styles that are similar to a Regal and Finlay, because that's what he was trying to do in their system was Colt did study World of Sport wrestling and was very good at that. And we actually, on Ring of Honor shows, booked him a couple times against one Dave Taylor and somebody else one time that could do that. And when he was serious and did that, it was okay. But he couldn't stop being the unfunny face making, unfunny joke telling, unfunny match having comedian. And you couldn't put him in the ring with anybody that you cared about wanting to use seriously, because he would funny him up and then people be laughing at him. But Tom says he has got away from a lot of the hokiness, at the same time keeping some of his entertainment factor, needs to work on his body and lose the baby fat around the waist. But I think this guy could have some entertaining and competitive matches. He needs to combine enough showboat with wrestling, which I think he can do. Dusty, Colt is charismatic and exciting, but most brands have seen him. So in order to move forward with Colt, we must have some direction. And otherwise, we keep sending him to all these dark matches. Tell us what you want us to do different with him, because...
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, well, most brands have seen him. He had done a dark match probably on each show. They had split by then, Raw and SmackDown. In order to move forward with Colt, give us some direction. If you don't like what we're sending you, what do you want this fucking guy to do? But yeah, area for improvement. This month's initiative, get in better shape and continue to find his niche.
He's still looking.
Oh, and Tiffany, old Taryn Terrell. Apparently, she got 5s across the board on ring and promo.
Well, no, she got a 6 for June for promo.
Oh, okay, for promo. Dusty's comments, work in progress.
Do you know her?
No, but goddamn, that's the lowest score that anybody got on these fucking little grades here that slipped out. We didn't give people, again, numerical scores and shit when I was getting these or doing these. I got to get in the files and dig up some of the OVW stuff. And there was never anything particularly helpful that came from the office on feedback, but we would try to encapsulate, the talent to send to the office. This guy's a better babyface or a better heel. This guy's in rotten shape, but he's entertaining. This guy's in great shape, can't stick his thumb in his ass. Whatever the case, we would try to give them a description instead of putting a numerical value to anything. And we figured we didn't need to put pictures on the sheet because they signed them, so they knew what they look like.
So who would this have been going to? John Laurinaitis' office?
Yeah, well, it would have been Laurinaitis then, whoever was in talent relations, or if Laurinaitis, because see, that's the thing. A lot of times, especially when Laurinaitis first took over talent relations, he didn't want to sit down and watch the OVW TV. So they would make somebody in the office do it. One time they were punishing Bruce, they made him do it. But most of the time, for the first few years, nobody up there even... Kevin Kelly watched the TV every week because he wanted to see it. But none of the actual goddamn office people ever watched the TV because it was a wrestling show. They weren't going to watch that for goddamn entertainment. And that's why they had to redo everybody when they got there, because they were making up all the bullshit entertainment gimmicks for them instead of concentrating on what kind of talent they had and what they could do. So it was, keep track of the developmental talent. Well, fuck, let somebody else do that. We're too busy trying to pretend to be writers up here.
Well, that's our look at FCW talent report cards from some year in the past that we're not sure of. Now, Jim, if you were a wrestler and you weren't happy with the book report you got,
I'd sue the son of a bitch.
You may want to sue.
Well, I know who to call. The man who gets even with everybody that vacates the legal standings of America and goes into the shady side of life and misrepresents you, mistreats you, gives you a wrongful termination or a deadly illness by poisoning or chemicals or any of those other type of horrible things, or if you go to jail in West Virginia and they don't treat you right, you can call this man.
Call Stephen P. News. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or two. Still to the rest.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are correct. That is right. Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 877-50-STEVE can be your champion in the court of law and order. As a matter of fact, Brian, they should have made CSI about Stephen P. New or Law and Order, or all those series.
CSI
Stephen
West
could
Virginia?
star in all of them.
CSI West Virginia?
CSI West Virginia, that's right. The CSI West Virginia, they'll show you how to track cows through the wilderness and trail the raccoons and the opossums and then track them into court and sue them for every penny they've got. And that's where newlawoffice.com comes in. Because if you find a raccoon that's got a lot of money, well, he'll sue the pelt off that little raccoon's ass.
Once again, I don't have any disclaimer to give on this one. Fuck the raccoon. Stephen P. New. Get even with Stephen. Newlawoffice.com. 877-50-STEVE.
Where do you think he got that coonskin cap from?
He doesn't like raccoons or weasels. So more about that in the future.
Yeah, he's going to have weasels britches.